A Sound of Thunder is a science fiction short story by Ray Bradbury, first published in Collier's magazine in the June 28, 1952 issue and Bradbury's collection Golden Apples of the Sun in 1953. Plot summary: in the year 2055, time travel has become a practical reality, and the company Time Safari Incorporated offers wealthy adventurers the chance to travel back in time to hunt extinct species such as dinosaurs. A hunter named Eccles pays $10,000 to join a hunting party that will travel back to the late Jurassic era, on a guided safari to kill a Tyrannosaurus rex. As the party waits to depart, they discuss the recent presidential elections in which an apparently fascist candidate, Deutscher, has been defeated by the more moderate Keith, to the relief of many concerned. When the party arrives in the past, Travis and Lesperance warn Eccles and the two other hunters, Billings and Kramer, about the necessity of minimizing the events they change before they go back, since tiny alterations to the distant past could snowball into catastrophic changes in history. Travis explains that the hunters are obliged to stay on a levitating path to avoid disrupting the environment, that any deviation will be punished with hefty fines, and that prior to the hunt Time Safari scouts have been sent back to select and tag their prey, which would have died within minutes anyway, and whose deaths have been calculated to have minimal impact on the future. Although Eccles is initially excited about the hunt, when the monstrous tyrannosaur approaches, he loses his nerve. Travis tells him he cannot leave, but Eccles panics, steps off the path and runs into the forest. Eccles hears shots, and on his return he sees that the two guides have killed the dinosaur, and shortly afterward the falling tree that would have killed the T-Rex has landed on top of it. Realizing that Eccles has fallen off the path, Travis threatens to leave him in the past unless he removes the bullets from the dinosaur unregistered trademark S body, as they cannot be left behind. Eccles obeys, but Travis remains furious, threatening on the return trip to shoot him. Upon returning to 2055, Eccles notices subtle changes. English words are now spelled and spoken strangely, people behave differently, and Eccles discovers that Deutscher has won the election instead of Keith. Looking at the mud on his boots, Eccles finds a crushed butterfly, whose death has apparently set in motion a series of subtle changes that have affected the nature of the alternative present to which the safari has returned. He frantically pleads with Travis to take him back into the past to undo the damage, but Travis explains that the time machine cannot return to any point in time that has already been visited. Travis raises his gun, and there is a sound of thunder. Adaptations: the story was aired on the Ray Bradbury Theatre on October 8, 1989. In this adaptation, Travis levels a pistol at Eccles' head prior to A Sound of Thunder, and a quick cut to credits. The story was parodied in the Time and Punishment section of The Simpsons episode Treehouse of Horror v. A film adaptation under the same title, was released in 2005 starring Ben Kingsley, Edward Burns and Catherine McCormack. Roger Ebert stated that while he cannot endorse it, he can appreciate it as a film that is bad because it wants so much to be terrific that it explodes under the strain. A Game Boy Advance video game based on the film was also released. It was finished in time for the film's planned 2003 release, delayed along with it and ultimately released in February 2005. Planned console ports were cancelled. Influence: A Sound of Thunder is often miscredited as the origin of the term butterfly effect, a concept of chaos theory in which the flapping of a butterfly in one part of the world could create a hurricane on the opposite side of the globe. The term was actually introduced by meteorologist Edward Norton Lawrence in the 1960s. However, Bradbury's concept of how the death of a butterfly in the past could have drastic changes in the future is a representation of the butterfly effect, and used as an example of how to consider chaos theory and the physics of time travel. See also, A Gun for Dinosaur, a short story by L. Sprague de Camp, first published in 1956 in Galaxy Science Fiction. Also produced as an episode of X-1 for NBC Radio in 1956. References. Further reading: Pitai, Daphne. Ray Bradbury and the Assault on Free Thought. Society 50.141-47. Academic Search Premier. Paradowski, Robert J. Ray Bradbury. Critical Survey of Long Fiction, 4th edition, 1-9. Literary Reference Center. Weller, Sam. The Bradbury Chronicles, The Life of Ray Bradbury. New York, William Morrow, 2005. Holmes, Neil. Fateful Butterfly. New Scientist 182.244331. Academic 1 file. External links. A Sound of Thunder title listing of the Internet Speculative Fiction Database.